Hello, friends, and welcome to my first video with me talking in it in the span of like 3 years. Today, I will be teaching you where to begin with building a level. So, in my experience, building a level typically starts in one of several ways. So, depending on what style you choose, how you prefer to build, or how serious you want to take your level building, you will start with different strategies, I suppose. So, one strategy that I see used often is people going to Newgrounds and choosing songs they like, building layouts to them, and then simply decorating. Seems easy, right? Wrong! That's not for everybody, but for some it works. And if it works for you, then that's cool. But some people have a really rough time with just hopping in the editor and throwing down objects. Another common method of building I see is people who just go into the editor with a song they know they like, and they just build to it part by part, as opposed to building the entire layout and then building on top of it. They just kind of work at the parts that they want to build first, and then they do the rest as it comes. The two methods I just mentioned are very popular, especially amongst design creators, because they allow for a lot of versatility and changing in workflow should you prefer to do it one way or the other. But the strategy that I prefer to use is to work with a theme. When working with a more art or modern based style, working with a theme that can be as simple as like a jungle atmosphere can make your life a lot easier. So, as for physically starting your project, you're going to want to find a song you like. That's been the common thread between every single style of actually building a level. You need to like the song. You're going to be dealing with it for hours upon hours in the editor. You got to make sure you like it first. So once you found the song you like, figure out how long you want your level to be, as well as where it should start in the song. Now you got to start making some gameplay. Or you don't. Sometimes if you have a picture in your head that you think that you can build to, you can just start right away with designs, art, effects, or whatever you need to do. So don't feel like you're pressured into building gameplay right away. Do as you please. It is your level after all. I personally have started very many levels by finishing the last part first and then moving to the start and making a way for the player to get to where I want them to be. If you're still having a rough time starting a level, sometimes some songs just don't mesh very well with themes or the designs that you may have initially envisioned. I've had many layouts that I've scrapped simply because I couldn't think of anything to throw onto it. Don't feel demotivated about building because you may have had to trash a layout or two. It's a part of building. Sometimes you just can't do it, man. It's fine. But whirl, I can hear you say from the comment section below, or from my Discord server, or from every corner of the internet that's ever existed. I can start levels just fine, I can't finish them. And to that I have to say, that's valid. In my experience, there are a few things that influence the outcome of your level. Primarily, starting it. If you can start a level and you've got an idea for one part and you finished a part, that's half the battle done already. The majority of the other issues come from staying motivated, remaining passionate about your project, managing your own expectations, and preventing burnout. Staying motivated can be difficult, especially when you've only finished one part and you're not quite sure where to go next. But depending on which style you build, I have a few pieces of advice that may make your life a little bit easier. For design creators, you could, for example, make a part that's more colorful than the last if it's on its way into the drop, make a more mellowed out part if it's directly after a drop, or keep a similar design schematic and simply change the structuring and/or colors. You could also introduce aspects from different styles, such as an art-related background or a really cool effect. You could also listen to the part in the song that you want to build or build onto, and just close your eyes and listen to the music and come up with some ideas. I know that may sound stupid, but it works really well. You can take inspiration from the strangest of places, and sometimes just listening to the song for the second or third or 100th time will do it for you. As for effect creators, since there's not a lot to your designs typically, you can usually vary it a lot with a really simple edit. Perhaps using a different detail block and changing the shape of the outlines could greatly affect your next part. For modern creators who make more advanced designs or more intricate and complicated designs, I'd recommend toying with the general idea of your first set of objects that you've created. So if your first part uses a lot of circles, you could explore a more oval-like design or change the shapes of your designs to be semicircular in nature or things such as. You could also choose to change the focus on your part by lowering the detail on the objects and instead choosing to focus on background effects. As for my fellow disgusting art creators, well, we have it a little bit easier. My personal trick with staying motivated when building levels is to come up with a story. It doesn't need to be a fantastical, really cool story, but just something to keep you building. So for a real simple example, if you have a level about a jungle, start it at the front of the jungle and finish it at the end of the jungle. What happens in between? Is there like a rafting section? Is there going to be a cave section? That's for you to decide. If you have a song that really plays into the theme of your level, then simply listen to the song and build a visual for it. Take, for example, what I'm about to show you here. This is a song by Waterflame called Stereo Symphonic Sound. I want you to listen for a theme and then visualize what you'd build to it. So what'd you think? Because I heard something that sounded like it could match very well with a factory theme and 3 times speed. Furthermore, I think that it would look good with a reduced visibility gimmick like you're holding a flashlight or something, and you're traversing through the underside of a factory. If the song you've chosen has any sort of thematic prowess to it, you'll have no issue with deciphering what to build next, so long as you have the creativity to think of anything. Sometimes it helps to ask a friend too. Though there are other styles out there, these rules apply pretty well across most of them, including stuff like neo-design or experimental. Although I just called these rules, I wouldn't necessarily call them, set in stone. And if something better works for you, then just roll with that. If you've come to really hate your designs and you feel like they're beyond salvaging, or if you've really just come to hate the song that you've chosen, then it may be best to just scrap your level and move on to greener pastures. But I just thought I'd give you this advice if you should ever need it. The ultimate takeaway from this whole segment has been that you gotta be creative, or at least have a semblance of an idea as what you want to do next before you can even execute. Staring at an empty editor is not going to help progress your level. And if you really can't progress in your level, then maybe it's just not meant to be. Being motivated and being passionate are two different things. I feel I need to differentiate here. Not being motivated to work on your levels simply translates to not wanting to build on them at all, be it out of just laziness or not having ideas. When there's a lack of passion behind building your levels, you've just grown tired of it. You may have ideas for later parts, but you don't want to physically build on the level. The best advice I can provide when you have ideas for a level, but just don't want to build on it, is to build something else, and maybe you'll come back to it later and work on it. At no point will anybody force you to make a level or work on something that you don't want to work on. Simply work on what you want to work on. If you got ideas about other projects, then just work on those. I currently have levels sitting in the back of my editor that are only half baked because I just don't have any passion left for them. But in instances like these, I typically try to collaborate with a friend who might bring a new spin to it, or take a little break and come back to it later. I know I may be sounding like a broken record at this point, but it's your level. Do as you please. So long as you're having fun, you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do. This is going to be the part where we talk about what you expect from yourself. So I'm going to start out with the obvious. You are a creator. You are not God. You should not be expected to put out stuff that is godly. You should build for the sake of having fun and not to impress anybody else but yourself. And if your goal is to impress others, you will always be disappointed. Not everybody will hate your level at any point in time, and not everybody will love your level at any point in time. So when you think it's not good enough after you finish a part, keep building anyways. 10 out of 10 times, you will learn more about the editor by building and failing to build something that looks spectacular than you would otherwise. The more time you spend in the editor, the better you will get at building. Some learn fast and some learn slow, but you will always learn. If you hope to release a level at some point in the next millennia, lower your expectations for yourself, buddy. It's all good. You aren't going to release Ultraviolence 2 after just picking up the editor. So don't push yourself to be perfect when you know that you are incapable of doing so right out the gate. And finally, as for managing burnout, don't just sit on your computer or iPad or iPhone or Android or whatever the hell all damn day and grind out GD levels. Unless you are in the zone and absolutely killing it in that editor, I take a break approximately every hour. This will keep your mind refreshed and good to go for when you want to build next time, if not later in that same day. Grab a glass of water.
Go touch some grass.
Taking breaks will ultimately lead to a better experience when you're building. And if you have nothing but good experiences in the editor, you'll have nothing but fun in the editor, and that's what counts at the end of the day. And with that, that'll bring us to the end of this video, ironically enough. If you want more of this content, feel free to let me know. This is the first time I've tried anything that's reaching this length, I suppose. I have a hell of a lot more to say, especially about stuff like making art, as well as taking criticism and giving criticism. So if you should want more, just let me know. Anywho, until next time, which may be in 3 years or 3 minutes, peace.